Hello class. Welcome back. We are going to look at what we call complexity. We have looked at increasing in complexity. That some organisms live as unicellular organisms, while others as multicellular. So whether tissue or organ or organism, that's multicellular organism. So you have to be able to tell the examiner what the cellular organism is. Is the one in which the whole organism is made up of one cell, which can perform all life activities. They'll give you examples: amoeba, paramecium, euglena, chlamydomonas, plasmodium. Yeah, give example. The one multicellular organism: hydra, agama laser. I always mention WAEC specimen, WAEC likely specimen, rabbit, cockroach, grasshopper. They are multicellular organisms. But don't forget that there's a problem with complexity. Complexity, organization of life. Because very soon we'll be treating another chapter that's about movement of material between the cell and its environment. Because the cell depends on the environment in which it lives to take materials or to release waste material to that environment. You cannot live without the environment. That's why we even have specific habitats. We have habitats. So a topic referred to as movement of material between the cell and its environment. When we have diffusion, osmosis, remember in GHS. Now, some of you have eaten. Why did you eat? Your body cells need nutrients. Why is it that you don't prepare soup and put your hand in the soup and the soup will diffuse into your body? But you have to pass it through certain channel because of complexity. Bacteria, amoeba, and co. are made up of only one cell. So material will move from the environment to the cell with ease. What about gamma lizard? What about rabbit? What about human being? You see this amoeba? If you want material from the environment, just diffusion will take care of that, to diffuse in. If you want to eliminate excretory product, diffusion will take care of that. But this is the goat. We are saying diffusion cannot pass into the goat's stomach. Or the eye. If the goat is hungry, it cannot see well. Food must pass through the mouth. Digestion will take place. And digestion will pass through the anus. Absorption will occur in the small intestine before the eye will even get its share. Even the mouth that obtains the food will even get its share. There is a problem with complexity. So there's something we call surface area to volume ratio. So unicellular organisms are said to have an increase in surface area to volume ratio, which means that the external surface is not far from the internal component. The external surface is not far from the internal component. In other words, a single cell is exposed to the environment on all sides. What about cellular organisms? They have a decreased surface area to volume ratio. This means the surface is some distance from most cells. The surface is some distance from most cells. So the part of the gold in contact, direct contact with the environment is the surface area. It's the surface area. You have to use your mathematical set here. Measure the surface area of the gold and divide by the volume. Wow, you thought volume in is it upper primary? You realize that you get a smaller value because the denominator will be very large. But this one, surface area is large. This one, surface area to volume ratio is large. The surface area to volume ratio here. So when we say something has high surface area to volume ratio, we are saying that the external surface is not far from the innermost components. We are saying that when we say something has high surface area to volume ratio, it means that the external surface that is in direct contact with the external environment, is not too far from the innermost cells or components of that organism. In other words, a cell is exposed to environment from all sides or angles. So let's look at more examples. What's the name of this plant? I hope you know this plant. That's opuntia. Then this wonderful plant too. We always bring it here. Tylenum triangulare. This leaf and this plant, which of them has a higher surface area to volume ratio? Yeah. This one, the leaf of Tylenum, has high surface area to volume ratio than this one. Okay? Because you can see the thickness. See the thickness here too. So you realize that if you should cut this, there are some cells that are far away. Most cells are far away from the external environment than this leaf. Okay. Let's take another leaf here. Well, this leaf. You realize that this one is leafy. It's leafy. You understand that? It's leafy. It's thicker than this one. So this one has a large surface area to volume ratio than this one. Because this one is thin. Let's use our ordinary language. It's thinner than this one. This one has large surface area to volume ratio than this one. Why are we interested in this? Because we are saying that living things are dependent on the environment. And so far as complexity is concerned, there are some cells inner to the surface that are not in direct contact with the surface. And it's the surface that is going to have access to the thing. Before it gets to the innermost cells, that's the smallest unit of life, then there's a problem. So this one has higher surface area to volume ratio than this one. I hope you're okay. What about your finger in your exercise book? Your finger in exercise book. Paper of exercise book. The paper of exercise book is having a higher surface area to volume ratio than your finger. What about the paper of exercise book and the cover? And the cover. So if you take the exercise book, you realize that I told you that you have it. That is why I have not brought it here. Enough of spoon feeding. You are not mature. So look at the exercise book. The paper, white sheet, and the cover. You realize that the paper has a large surface area to volume ratio. The paper has a higher surface area to volume ratio than the cover. If you doubt it, put both in water. And you see what will happen. Which one will absorb water first? Which one will be destroyed first? Because the paper is thinner than the cover. I hope you are okay. Surface area to volume ratio. So what we are saying is that if you need this important vocabulary for your course in biology, surface area to volume ratio is a problem with complexity. As we move towards complexity, there is a problem about surface area to volume ratio. Sometimes it's advantageous. Sometimes it's not advantageous. Now, plants lose water. I thought the most important factor in terrestrial environment is water. And plants lose water. Plants known as deciduous plants, they lose water during the dry season. So during the dry season, these plants shed their leaves. So assuming this is one of the plants. This one is not deciduous anyway, it's evergreen. So it shed the leaves during the dry season. Is it increasing surface area to volume ratio or reducing it? It's reducing it. Because it is the leaf that has increased surface area to volume ratio to absorb maximum sunlight, to effect carbon dioxide and oxygen exchange. But it is the same leaf that loses water through transpiration. So as it sheds leaves, that's the vocabulary. We're using it to make out 2. The plant reduces surface area to volume ratio, which means that it reduces the rate at which the plant loses water. Simply put, large surface area to volume ratio means efficient exchange of material between the cell, between the organism and its environment. Low surface area to volume ratio, small surface area to volume ratio means exchange of material between the organism and the environment. It's a problem. I hope it is clear. Let's see how multicellular organisms have managed, how nature has made multicellular organisms to manage this problem. Does that mean that because there is a problem, they will decide not to be at this level? When we say specialization is even advantageous, it will help organism. Because life at unicellular level too has its problem. If part of the cell is damaged, that's the end of the organism. But for you, 100 cells can be removed from your skin. You are still alive. But you have a problem. Let's see how nature has endowed multicellular organism to survive this problem. So if you go to plants, this is a seed that is germinating. And this is a root. These are root hairs. Have you seen they are numerous? The root hairs are unicellular. They are unicellular. The big root here is multicellular. And there are cells inside. But growing root hairs means increasing in surface area to volume ratio. I hope it's clear. Increasing surface area to volume ratio. Because this is a root, it's a root hairs. It means instead of the root to be like this, then only these cells will have contact with this environment. But the root being like this, it means that there will be several contacts. That this one will take it here, this one will also take it, this one will also take it. So increasing surface area to volume ratio. So surface area to volume ratio is improved in the root of plant by the presence of root hairs. Full stop. Then we move to the alveoli. For amoeba, exchange of material occurs only across the cell membrane, unicellular organism. That's all. Because the organism is simple. But for complex multicellular organism, some cells are inner in the tissues. So, exchange of gases, for instance. That's why when you breathe in air, the lungs are divided into smaller units known as alveoli. The alveoli, the presence of alveoli increases surface area to volume ratio. Increases surface area to volume ratio. So it means that these are the alveoli. So air sacs. I hope you are there. So this air is in the sac. So it will diffuse here. Some will diffuse here, diffuse here, diffuse here, diffuse here, diffuse here. As against if the whole lung will be like this. And for oxygen to diffuse into the tissues, it will not be as efficient as the presence of this type of thing. Lack surface area to volume ratio. Actually, if you stretch this, you get a larger value than if it was round, increasing surface area to volume ratio. So the presence of alveoli in the lungs improve surface area to volume ratio for efficient gaseous exchange. What about the villi? When we take in food, digestion complete in the ileum, absorption of food occurs in the ileum. One of the adaptations of the ileum is the presence of finger-like projection inward in the lumen, also increasing surface area to volume ratio. So food can be absorbed here, can be absorbed here, can be absorbed here. The villi are one cell thick. Structure made up of one cell thick. So the root hairs, implant, villi, in the ileum of animals, ileum of mammals, the presence of alveoli in the lungs of terrestrial animals. When you get to omega 2, when you look at blood circulation, you realize that this is why even we have circulatory system, because of complexity. Because the body is large. So the need for complex mechanism that will ensure circulation of material to all parts of the body. So the heart is a pumping station. The blood vessels that need to even be structurally adapted to carry the blood without exhausting the pressure, because the blood vessels, the arteries, are thick, so that when the force, blood enters them with force, they will be able to maintain the pressure. When blood retains from the body, the pressure is weak, so the veins are valves that will not allow backflow of blood traveling from the lower part of the body to the heart. A lot of mechanisms. Presence of blood capillaries and co. What about gaseous exchange in human? You know, it's not easy for you to get air into the lungs. There should be exhalation and inhalation. You remember? Mechanism of breathing. Amoeba doesn't have any mechanism of breathing, just simple diffusion. We'll take care of that. It doesn't mean that all animals have complex mechanism for breathing and complex mechanism for gaseous blood circulation. There are a group of animals that lack vascular system. They don't have vascular system that will pump blood, as we are talking about in terms of animals, in terms of mammals. I hope you are there. A group of animals referred to as flatworms, platyhelminths, tapeworms, or flatworms. They lack vascular tissue. It means there is no, they lack vascular system, or vascular tissue and vascular system. So, which means that there is no complex mechanism. There is no system responsible for transport. Meanwhile, they are also multicellular. So nature has made them to be flat. Flat. You know that this thing in this leaf has less surface area to volume ratio than this. I hope it's clear. Less surface area to volume ratio than this. So tapeworm are decided to be like this. Why human beings are like this? Why earthworm is like this? It's similar to this. Tapeworms are similar to the leaf. So tapeworm, flatworms are flat because the flatness increases surface area to volume ratio so that absorption can occur on the surface. You know they are parasites. Endoparasite. So they absorb food, just be absorbed. There's no need for it to pass through any part before absorption. They also lack digestive system. They lack digestive system. They lack digestive system. So digested food, simple. We have digestive system to digest the food. Because the complex food too cannot diffuse. Because we are complex, the surface of the body too is made complex not to allow things to enter the body by heart. Epithelial tissue, not allow. So there's a need for the food to pass through. But we have specialized epithelial tissue in the ileum that will allow absorption in a way. Yes. So that's complexity. The problem of complexity is reduced. Even the root, how the root is branched, to have a lateral root, secondary root, so that it will have a lot of contact with the cell, a lot of contact with the soil, or increasing surface area to volume ratio. Plants share their leaves during the dry season to reduce surface area to volume ratio, so that the rate of transpiration will be reduced. Flatworms are flat so that they increase surface area to volume ratio to effect absorption of material from the environment because they lack transport system. They lack complex transport system. Also lack digestive system. Presence of root hairs in plants to increase surface area to volume ratio for absorption of water and mineral salt. Presence of alveoli in the lungs to increase surface area to volume ratio for gaseous exchange. Thank you for watching LearnRite Biology. Thank you for understanding complexity, problem with complexity, and how this problem is solved in living things. If you get to Mega 1, the specific note on how problem complexity is solved in terrestrial animals. Join me in the next lesson where we look at advantages and disadvantages of life at unicellular level. Bye-bye.